Am I the asshole for destroying my brother's cherished memories of our grandfather? So I'm AM, 39. My brother is 37. I'm quite the Halloween lover and decorate my front yard every year, and I really enjoy being creative and making my own props as well. Today, I was going into the garage to grab my neon green skeleton, then I saw the old hand-carved merry-go-round horse my grandfather had made years ago that after he passed away my grandma gave to my brother, even though we both wanted it. Well, my brother had taken it and painted over it, and it had sat on our outdoor back porch for almost 2 years. Then when we got our porch redone, he just tossed it out on the backyard patio in the elements for 6 months before finally tossing it into the garage, where it's been for probably another 6 months. Now, it's neglected. It's broken, cracking, and was covered in dust and cobwebs, and just looked terrible. I decided to paint it all black, and was going to hit it in spots with some glow-in-the-dark green paint I had that would make for a cool effect at night. Then have the skeleton riding it while holding a lantern. Well, my brother saw it painted black and lost his f***ing mind. In our front yard, he's screaming and cussing at me that I'm destroying his property and the cherished memories of our grandfather he had. I explained to him that the way he's treated this horse has not been in a cherished way, and leaving it in the elements and garage for over 3 years to rot and ruin shows he really didn't care about it all that much, and that's he's overreacting for no reason. He picks up the lantern and proceeds to kick it into the front of the house, begins aggressively crying, and runs in the house, where he continues to cry uncontrollably. My mom tried to remain neutral about it, though she admittedly sees no issue with what I did. Thoughts among family and friends is mostly split, but I wanted to know what neutral parties thought about it. Am I the asshole? Or is my brother overreacting? It was his. You said, after he passed away my grandma gave to my brother, so, regardless of how he treated it, you should have asked him before painting it. You are the asshole. It was his property, and you took it without asking. It's that simple no matter how you try to spin it. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. Enormously. You knew what you were doing, because you're jealous your grandmother gave it to your brother. It wasn't yours. Also, I hope the ages are wrong, and you're 19 and 17, LMAO. If not, big yikes. Grow up. I can't get past 2 guys in their late 30s, still living with their mom. You are the asshole. It wasn't yours. He's allowed to modify it how he wants, and even put it away and not use it if he wants. You are not. You are the asshole. How the hell did you make it almost 4 decades without the lesson, ask others before you use their stuff? Ever once getting through? Am I the asshole for wanting to keep the 3 upstairs bedrooms when my cousin has the master suite? I, 25F, am moving into a $2,400 per month rental with my cousin, 34F. We're splitting rent 50/50ths. The layout. A downstairs, large master suite with walk-in closet and big private bathroom. Upstairs, 3 smaller bedrooms, a bathroom, and a loft. We agreed she'd have the master and I'd use the 3 upstairs bedrooms, and we'd share the loft as a content room. We both film videos. That felt fair since she gets luxury plus privacy, and I get more but smaller rooms. I planned 1 room for sleeping, 1 for my WFH office, and 1 for vanity/storage since I don't have a walk-in closet. But now she's pushing back. Said the loft shouldn't have a TV, after she suggested moving couches there, because then it's not a content room. Said maybe the content room should be one of my bedrooms. Wants to use the loft for her product storage. Made snarky comments like, what are you even going to do with 3 rooms anyway? Which made me feel like she was trying to guilt me out of them. I even offered to swap so she could take the upstairs bedrooms and I'd take the master. But she refused because the master bath is larger. Now I feel like she's keeping her whole suite untouched while carving into my half, and we're both paying $1,200. We are currently at the application process, though I'm confident it's ours. We have not signed yet. Am I the asshole for insisting on keeping all 3 bedrooms for myself while keeping the loft shared for content? Or am I being greedy like she implies? Removed pics for safety, sorry. Not the asshole. But it sounds like this is not the kind of person you would want to live with. Not the asshole, she wants the master and the loft for herself, while you get 2 small bedrooms to yourself? No way, not for equal rent. She had this plan from the beginning, so she could get the master suite. You got played. So you agreed on a 50/50 split, based on you having the 3 rooms upstairs. If she now wants one of those rooms, simply point out the original agreement and say that she can have one of the rooms for 1/3 of your rent, i.e. $400, bringing her rent up to $1,600 and yours down to $800. Tell her she can have the whole upstairs, and you'll take the master or vice versa. That was the agreement, and those are her choices. I would find a new roommate. This screams misery from day one. She gives spoiled brat vibes, and if she isn't happy, no one will be happy. Am I the asshole for telling my fat friend stop talking about getting in shape? Little background information about myself. I am in good physical shape. I diet and meal prep. Pretty much your average gym bro. My friend, on the other hand, is medically obese and a gamer. Every couple of months he'll go on about how he wants to change his life, get in shape, diet, and be consistent in the gym. Then he'll ask me for the same advice I gave countless times. Complain about his life and why he's fat. Ultimately, he'll ask me to start taking him to the gym. He'll go like one time, then just flake out and not go again. He'll then randomly start complaining that I never take him. Then he'll give up and repeat this process. I literally cannot tell you how many times I have made workout programs for him. Pep talks, meal prep suggestions and directions. Well, I'm sick of it. I told him this time something along the lines of, stop asking me for help. You never take my advice and blame your circumstances on your past. He then went on and told our other friend in front of me, hey, can I go to the gym with you? OP doesn't want to take me and help me. I went on to tell him he has no self-control, no accountability, he is a hedonist, and he blames all his FCK ups on other people. Then I said, just do it. Stop talking about it your whole life and do it. Am I the asshole? No, you're not wrong. It gets annoying. You know why he's not doing it? Because he keeps telling you he's going to do it, and he's getting instant gratification from telling you. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to put in the labor, time and time again, for writing meal plans/workout programs for him to just give it up quickly. You didn't need to essentially say to him, you're fat and have no self-control. Everyone sucks here. You for being mean-spirited to this person as a result of failing to set healthy boundaries sooner. Them for being petty to the other friend who was there. No one's the asshole for your friend's lack of commitment. It just sucks and is sad. You're good for helping, they're good for wanting to try. However, losing weight is a mental health game, and if it were easy or merely difficult, then it wouldn't be the big issue it is today. Before it got to this point, the right thing for both of you would have been for you to let your friend gently know that the previous time was the last time, but that you'll always root for them to reach their goals. In this case, you were mean and petty, and so they became defensive and petty. Neither of you were right. Not the asshole. I am in a similar situation with a friend, and I feel like an idiot every time I try to help her, and she just ignores my advice until the next time she asks for help. Bottom line is, you can't help someone who just doesn't want to be helped. You're not wrong, but I don't think I would treat someone I considered a friend that way. Not the asshole. Aside from this being a hard message he honestly needed to hear, he's the one who trashed you to others, and even then you didn't personally attack him, you were just honest and direct. The same mentality that causes him to interpret something that felt bad to hear as being an attack is the mentality that got him to where he is now. He's not putting in the work on his mental wellness either. AITA for how I reacted to my ex, saying he was giving up his cat. This is more complicated than the title. My ex and I split over 3 years ago and maintained a friendly relationship until this past February when he started dating his current girlfriend, Z. At the time, I was living with my now ex, but I had tiny voice in the back of my head telling me to not cut my lease early at my old place. And I was right, we ended up splitting in May. I live in a fairly small 1-bedroom with my cat. He lives in a 3-story townhouse with his cat. These are cats we adopted when we were dating and living together, and when we split, it worked out well. One cat liked me more, one cat liked him more, easy enough, right? Wrong. So we adopted these cats over 7 years ago and have had them for most of their lives. Anyone I date, I make it clear my cat and I are a package deal, so if they have severe allergies, it's not a good fit. However, Z has bad cat allergies. And supposedly she's been trying to get more exposure to the cat, and the allergies haven't gotten better. I got a text out of the blue a few days ago from my ex asking if I would take his cat, because Z is moving in. I can't have 2 cats in my apartment, and it also goes against my lease. I told him no, and provided him with a list of solutions, one of which included allergy shots, which worked well for me. He told me no, shots don't work for her, and I asked, oh, is she anti-vax or something? I told him they're worth trying, and left it at that. The next day I got a series of texts from him asking what was up about me asking that. That it was a dig, just being really rude, I guess. I told him that he's had his cat for 7 years, she's 11 years old. If you take to a shelter, she'll probably die there. She's not easily rehomable, and she's super attached to you, and it'll really hurt her if she just never sees you again. He told me to stay out of his relationship, and that I had no business commenting on how he was handling this, but he brought me into it in the first place. So, was I the asshole for how I responded to this? Edit. So for people saying I overstepped by giving him options outside of rehoming the cat, I said, no, I can't take her. Have you looked into other options? His response was, no, what other options are there? So I gave him a whole list of options that didn't involve rehoming the cat. He asked. Not the asshole. He dragged you into it by asking if you'd take the cat, so of course you gave him your honest reaction. An 11-year-old cat that's super attached to its owner isn't just going to bounce back if dumped at a shelter. That's basically a death sentence. A shelter isn't going to place her easy, and she's going to be miserable. You weren't wrong to point that out, even if you were blunt. He just didn't like hearing the truth. Not the asshole he brought you into it. The cat is a living thing too. That's been there for 7 years, and he's dumping the cat to move another woman in? Seems like he moves women in pretty quickly, and without thinking too much, to be honest. Not the asshole. Your ex, on the other hand, is a real asshole. I have never understood how people can just give away their pets. He told me no, shots don't work for her, and I asked, oh, is she anti-vax or something? This is completely uncalled for, and I suspect you know it. There are any number of reasons that allergy shots might not work for someone, and you're entitled to none of that information. Maybe she's allergic to one or more of the ingredients. Maybe she's tried them, and they don't work. Maybe she's got a phobia of needles. Guess what? You're not entitled to knowing any of that. There's no way to read this other than as an intentional slight against her. So even if I could be convinced that he's being the asshole by giving up his cat so easily, there's no world where you're not TA. At best, ESH. Changing my vote to you are the asshole for OP's exceedingly disingenuous reply. Not the asshole. Sounds like it's time to go and see with this ex if he thinks the only possible solution to a problem in his life is to make it your problem. You're a good pet owner. Keep doing you. It just saddens me to see that 7 years of life with this cat has not made him attached enough to her cat, and is ready to throw that away to have a relationship with a human over something that would be so easily fixable.